What is up, everybody? Solomon here. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic Tuesday. If you see any scam ads on this video, please do not participate in those. First and foremost, I will be posting a very interesting deep dive to Patreon tomorrow regarding the IMF, some interesting connections that I believe I have found, and I generally try to post as much research as I can to that forum, and I may do a video later in the afternoon regarding that as well. But we had extremely interesting news today. And I'm going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into Sandy O'Connor here. So if you have not seen this, Ripple adds Sandy O'Connor to board of directors. This is yesterday, okay? 2-minute read. Ripple's board of directors, Sandy O'Connor. She had retired from JP Morgan, essentially, okay? But we're going to go very much so deep into this. Today, Ripple is thrilled to announce that Sandy O'Connor is joining its board of directors. O'Connor has over 30 years of leadership experience with a deep background in finance, treasury, capital markets, and regulatory affairs. As Ripple expands its global network and continues to push for regulatory clarity in the United States, she will provide counsel on key government relations and regulatory initiatives in the company's next phase of growth. Sandy is extremely well respected by her peers on Wall Street and the regulatory community alike. Her extensive network and in-depth understanding of markets, capital flows, and banking will provide valuable and unique insights as new policies and regulations take shape across the U.S., says Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple's CEO. The United States needs a single clear regulatory framework for crypto that levels the playing field and supports American innovation and companies. Sandy's experience and guidance will support us on our journey to build a more inclusive financial system. Okay. Now, pay attention to this next part here, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into what she has been doing since she retired, quote-unquote retired, what other institutions she's a part of. So O'Connor recently retired as the Chief Regulatory Affairs Officer at JP Morgan Chase, where she set the firm's comprehensive regulatory strategy and led engagement with G20 regulators and policymakers regarding evolving regulation. Prior to this role, she held several senior leadership positions at the firm, including global treasurer and head of prime services, and served on multiple firm-wide governance committees, including risk and capital. She joined JP Morgan in 1988 and spent 30 years there. Now, let's pay attention to what she's doing right now, though, okay? This is an article from 2018, while she was still at JP Morgan Chase. Actually, this basically was pulled directly into Ripple's announcement. But let's pay attention to what some of these boards that she serves on these trade associations, okay? Or did in 2018. Then we're going to go to what she does now. O'Connor serves on the boards of several industry trade associations, including the Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association, and as chair of the Global Financial Markets Association. She also serves as the chair of the Federal Reserve's Alternative Reference Rates Committee, member of the Treasury Markets Practitioners Group, member of the Office of Financial Research Advisory Committee, chair of Advisory Committee of the Salzburg Global Seminar. All right. This is just from the Bank for International Settlements here. This was talking about blockchain. This, I believe, is 2018, and Sandy is involved in this with the BIS, Bank for International Settlements. We also have Miss Sandy O'Connor, Manager, Director, and Chief Regulatory Affairs Officer at JP Morgan Chase. Deeply involved in JP Morgan Chase's regulatory strategy. The views on how financial innovation shall affect regulation from the industry's point of view will be extremely valuable. This is talking about blockchain in this document here. Okay, I'm sorry, 2016. Talking about the Central Bank of France. And now we have seen the Central Bank of France as of January talking very much so about CBDCs, tying XRP and Ethereum into a CBDC that can, quote unquote, interoperate with a digital asset that is native to a blockchain. And then they reference XRP, L, and Ethereum. Monitor the development initiatives concerning blockchain technology. So this is 2016. So obviously they're not monitoring anymore. They're developing. Okay, first and foremost, I wanted to give a little bit of a brief background because this is one of the newer initiatives that Sandy is sitting on. This is Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC. Many of us have heard of that, right? The FDIC is an independent agency created by the U.S. Congress to maintain stability and public confidence in the nation's financial system. Mission of the FDIC is to maintain stability, public confidence, blah, blah, blah. They insure deposits. They examine and supervise financial institutions for safety and soundness and consumer protection. They work to make large and complex financial institutions resolvable, and they manage receiverships. Okay, great. This is in July of this year. So this is after she retired from JP Morgan, I believe. This is the FDIC adding 5 members to its Systemic Resolution Advisory Committee. Pay attention to that phrasing there. Systemic Resolution Advisory Committee. Former Fannie Mae CEO and former Fed chair named as new members. So, former Fed chair, former Fannie Mae CEO, and down at the bottom here, looks like Sandy O'Connor received also on here. O'Connor currently serves on advisory committees for the Office of Financial Research and FDIC Systemic Resolution. FDIC Systemic Resolution. What is FDIC Systemic Resolution? We'll see in a second here and what they are dealing in. This is right on the FDIC's website. Sandy O'Connor, recognized financial industry, G20 regulators, et cetera, et cetera. Currently, O'Connor serves on a task force on financial stability and on advisory committees for the official Office of Financial Research and FDIC Systemic Resolution. FDIC Systemic Resolution Advisory Committee meeting in October of 2020. These are some of the most recent meetings. This is the last meeting. Looks like they took a little bit of a break for about a year here. And October 1st, 2020. So they are dealing in systemically important financial companies. On October 1st, 2020, the FDIC Systemic Resolution Advisory Committee, which Sandy sits on after retirement, will meet to provide advice and recommendations on a broad range of policy issues regarding the resolution of systemically important financial companies. While she's joined Ripple, the FDIC established this committee. When was this? Hold on. This is 2011. So this committee was established in 2011. Just interesting to me that we see somebody that retired as the head of regulatory affairs at JP Morgan, retired, that, you know, sitting on some of these boards, etc., now choosing to join Ripple. We know that JP Morgan has alternative initiatives regarding digital assets and blockchain, their quote unquote walled garden, JPM coin, etc. And she chooses to, number one, join this Systemic Resolution Advisory Committee, which very much so deals with systemically important financial companies, and now joins Ripple. So I don't know. I mean, I've seen so many people join Ripple. It's absolutely insane. You know, I'm not going to sit here and try to speculate on things, but I am going to sit there and try to vet out where these people are, what they've been doing, what other initiatives they're tied into, where they've been, and potentially where this whole thing goes. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of a fast fire thing here at the end. This came out today. New brokered deposits rule promotes bank fintech partnerships. This is OCC Comptroller of the Currency, Brian Brooks, today announced the following statement with his vote to support the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Oh, wow. That's the FDIC again. That's where Sandy happens to be on that systemically important new brokered deposits rule. Okay. Now, this essentially is this is loaded verbiage, ladies and gentlemen. So, but this is, you know, in layman's terms, they are trying to bring fintechs and banks closer together. It's the same thing across the board. All right, moving through this. Bank chief, this is Brian Brooks again, proposes far out crypto idea that should be next Nobel Prize. This is Brian Brooks again, talking about Country Coin, which is essentially like an interoperable incentivization token that very much so promotes education and upward mobility via education, et cetera, et cetera. So it's awesome to see him promoting things like that. I'm not sure if that's going to win the Nobel Prize or not, but we will see. Blockchain can trace carbon emissions from mining metals companies. Proof of concept released. This is the World Economic Forum. And this is with some major steel and I believe aluminum producers as well. I deal in some of these companies with my job, although I deal with it on a very niche level. So this has to do with, I saw Tata in here. I saw Anglo American, which I'm familiar with. Glencore. So yeah, founding members of, this is MMBI is this initiative. This is called the Mining and Metals Blockchain Initiative. World Economic Forum. We know the WEF's ties with, Finastra, who is an ODL-enabled institution, etc. across the board here. This was announced today. Geneva, Switzerland released a proof of concept that uses distributed ledger technology to track embedded greenhouse gas emissions. Collaboration between 7 leading industry players and the World Economic Forum. The initiative has hit an important stage of development following its launch in October of 2019. Basically, it's a successful proof of concept named COT, or COT, Carbon Tracing Platform, which will be critical in helping to ensure traceability of emissions from mine to the final product. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, if you're not aware, they always talk about emissions and all this other stuff. There's all these regulations as far as carbon emissions, et cetera, and they always try to cut very much so down on heavy manufacturing because it's a traceable thing, right? How many emissions come from manufacturing, heavy manufacturing processes. This is like a complete sidebar, by the way. But water vapor, the products of what these manufacturers make, which is like steel, aluminum. There's products of combustion when you manufacture things like this. When I say combustion, you need flame, right? To be able to manufacture, to have heat and to be able to manufacture things like steel, et cetera. Products or byproducts, one of those products of combustion just so happens to be water vapor. They don't measure things like water vapor. They talk about ocean levels rising and stuff like that. The ocean levels, like there's enough water vapor produced by manufacturing processes in steel and aluminum, just in North America alone, to fill all of the Great Lakes, like once every 3 years, I believe, over. So it might be fill them over. I could be completely wrong there. It's like raise them by 10 or 15%. It's a crazy high level. Super sidebar. Sorry about that. All right. Now, I saw this today as well. Tokenized real estate market cap stood at $25 million with 188,000 in trading volume for November 2020. This is a report from the STG, the Security Token Group. So this is just more development, more adoption of blockchain. We do know that tokenization of real estate is very much so happening. It's only going to happen more so. IOHK, so we're talking about Cardano now, continues momentum with Allegra Cardano protocol update. Token locking is coming to Cardano on December 16th. They will be successfully executing Allegra, a protocol upgrade that will bring token locking to the blockchain. In the making since at least the beginning of December, Allegra is a development change that was set to happen alongside the integration of metadata on the network. Token locking, while a small technical change to the consensus protocol overall, will have a significant impact on the way Cardano works and as such required a hard fork to be implemented. Now, this is an essential building block, apparently. Allegra will prepare Cardano for smart contracts and the creation of assets that run on the platform while providing an important piece of governance functionality that will come with Voltaire. Token locking will enable Cardano to record that a specific token issued on the network is being issued for a particular purpose. Once more tokens aside from ADA are issued on Cardano, it will enable a certain number of tokens to be reserved for a specific period of time so they can gain a certain benefit, such as voting or running complex smart contracts. So this is tomorrow, and I am a supporter of ADA, Cardano, very much so. I believe that Charles is a freaking genius. So, all right, moving forward, Coinbase supports Aave. I call it Aave, you call it Aave, whatever. Bancor and Synthetics token trading. They pumped today, but many things pumped today. They got the Coinbase pump. I try not to buy digital assets on Coinbase as much as possible. I do have Coinbase just from a regulatory standpoint. I think it's probably one of the more shored up exchanges you could potentially be on. However, we've seen so many times over and over again, they continuously have issues when trading volumes peak, especially when things tend to almost break all-time highs, etc. You know, who needs that? So I like having multiple different exchanges that I could potentially move on and off of, etc., etc. All right, I'm going to leave you with this. Anders L. This is X_Anderson. If you do not follow this gentleman on Twitter, he's a freaking beast. Somewhat a lot into like diversification. Definitely kind of the same way that I am. Has shielded certain things in the past, but you know, we're all guilty of that. But I saw that. I wanted to give a huge shout out to him. I'm not sure if this is like 100% legit or not. So maybe vet this out a little bit more, but it looks legit to me from an initial vetting. Interesting, Kraken showing up in on-demand liquidity, ODL. Kraken has received a bank charter in Wyoming, which we know from previous discussions and previous announcements. And obviously the OCC was the trigger for all that, Brian Brooks, as the first exchange in the US, and Ripple is an investor in Kraken as well. Now, this is like an old school announcement with Ripple being an investor in Kraken, but I believe that's 100% legit. All right, now he pulls this up here, and I will show you this website. This is Kraken_USD. So Kraken US dollar to Bitso, 19,999.98 XRP. This was today. Kraken becomes first crypto exchange to receive a US bank charter. We know that. This is the, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, give him a follow though. He does provide like a lot of information. So, all right, utilitytaxscan.com /pound/dashboard. And this talks about daily volume in ODL, USD last 24 hours volume per corridor, summary, ODL map, and if you go down below here, last XRP ledger transactions spotted as ODL. Now I'm not sure how. Okay, we consider a transaction as ODL only when these 4 criteria are met. The first one is XRP initially being bought at one exchange in local fiat, then being sent across the XRPL, then the exact amount of XRP finally sold back at the destination exchange in local fiat. The total time frame should last roughly 4 minutes. Okay, so they're using parameters basically to gauge whether or not these fiat to XRP then transfer over the XRPL or the XRP ledger, and then transferred back to fiat, all within a certain allotted time, which would lead you to believe that it's more than likely an ODL transaction. Okay, and we do see on here though, Bitstamp, and then we see Kraken right here, 9,998.98 XRP, so 4810 USD. So that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. So curious to see if we hear anything about that. Curious to see if that gets vetted out in any way. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but I wanted to present it to you anyways because Utility Tax Scan is an awesome website. I haven't went to this website nearly enough, but Andersel at XRP_Anderson used to be XRP or X Neo or XRP Neo on Twitter presented this, so I thought it was awesome. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I'm going to be doing a post on Patreon tomorrow regarding the IMF. And some interesting verbiage and some tie-ins with some initiatives that may be of note, and just kind of how this stuff seems to be a little bit coincidental. I just think it's crazy that, you know, we see these high-level individuals leaving, retiring, jumping ship and coming to Ripple, and it all seems to surround, you know, this new quote-unquote financial system that is very apparently being built. So, whew, I'm out of breath. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there is news tomorrow, I will certainly present it. Plan on posting the IMF thing to Patreon early and maybe to YouTube later on, but hopefully there's some big announcements that come out. I don't know. All right. You guys have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you happen to be. I will talk to you later. Bye.